Hey guys, Hunter here. I had the opportunity to go see the new Colleen Hoover movie early, an adaptation of her book with the same name, Regretting You, directed by Josh Bone and adapted by screenwriter Suzanne McMartin.
Life can have a funny way of surprising you. My mom got pregnant with me when she was 18. She and my dad were high school sweethearts. My Aunt Jenny also ended up with her high school boyfriend, Jonah. I thought we would be one big happy family forever.
Regretting You follows Morgan Grant and Jonah Sullivan, played by Allison Williams and Dave Franco, who find out that Morgan's husband and Jonah's wife were having an affair with each other after they were both killed in a car accident, leaving Morgan and Jonah to pick up the pieces while trying to keep the affair a secret to Morgan's daughter, Clara, played by McKenna Grace. I've never read a Colleen Hoover book before, and I didn't see It Ends With Us last year, despite its messy behind the scenes, so this was my first impression of her. And I was decently excited to see this movie, because if you've seen my first video, you know I love the MTV Scream show, and Willa Fitzgerald plays Jonah's wife in this movie. But the way the film really falls short is in its dialogue. Before I go into what I didn't like, it's only fair I give Regretting You praise in the areas I thought worked. I was a little unsure of Dave Franco as this more reserved, nerdy high school teacher, but he is trying his best with the script that's given to him, so you're never pulled out of the movie once with his casting. There's especially a moment I like when Jonah drops off his less than 1-year-old baby at Morgan's house in anger because he thinks the baby has the smile of Morgan's deceased husband. Everybody in the theater audibly gasped when it happened because of the frustration and self-loathing you could see coming through Jonah while he made such a stupid decision, but one that a lot could agree with. Then you have Willa Fitzgerald, who plays this wild fun girl who's forced to settle down because of their newborn. Her genuinely fun performance, mixed with the fact that she dies early on for the inciting incident, makes you really miss her in the rest of the movie.
Hey, Aunt Jenny.
Hey, Claire Bear.
Guess who just
Spent the last half hour with the coolest guy in school.
Oh my god.
Don't tell my mom about this.
You know she gets.
Yeah, no, of course I won't.
Sometimes it scares me how good of a liar you are.
And Allison Williams is holding the film on her shoulders. When she isn't spewing out the predictable words on the script and is actually given something to work with, she stands out among everybody else in the movie. Not only did her husband cheat on her before dying, but her sister was the person he was cheating on her with before she died in the same accident. Morgan has to deal with all this while taking care of her daughter. The backbones for a great story were here, and I have to give the actors their flowers, because if it wasn't for their performances, this movie would have fallen more flat than it already does. Because other than those three characters, everybody else feels flat. Colleen Hoover clearly doesn't know how to write teenagers, because she only has this romanticized version of them in her head. This is prevalent with Clara Grant and Miller Adams, played by Mason Thames, who I usually like, especially in The Black Phone. Clara says that Miller is the most popular and coolest guy in school, but nothing in the movie shows this. He lives in squalor with his grandpa, who we're told is grumpy, but we never see it. He has no friends except for one kid who is shown to be a loser in the eyes of our main character, and it's never explained if this is Miller's only friend because Miller's family is looked at as less due to his drug dealer parents who have been incarcerated. Plus, instead of talking to Clara since he likes her, which is established at the start of the film, Miller decides to record her in school plays without her knowing, while dating another girl as a backup plan to top it all off. I don't know about you, but none of these characteristics make him popular, nor do any of these make him rootable.
That's not how I thought our first kiss would be like.
How did you think it would be?
Keep my hand in yours.
And this isn't a fault of the actress, but Clara tells her mom how predictable she is all throughout the movie, just for Clara to be the most cliche teenager ever. Clara is just your typical teenage girl who wants to leave the small rural area of her Texan town and make it to the big city to be an actor. But Morgan is just the overprotective mom who wants her daughter to be more grounded in reality. Everything about this character is so boring because you see it coming a mile away. She doesn't smoke or drink because she's a good girl, so when you do see her smoke and drink to help her deal with the trauma of her dead dad and aunt, it's to show she's changing as a person. But the author and director can't have her actually spiral because then she won't be the perfect girl from next door for the audience. So you only have her take one hit of a joint and only have her get drunk so she pukes and swears off alcohol forever. It's just the bare minimum to show she is going through the darkest period of her life.
I just want to leave.
It's been a long year.
Then let's leave.
Even the crux of the movie being Clara and Miller's relationship is just played out. It's this whole thing of if Clara actually likes Miller or if she's just using him to make her mom upset for teenage rebelliousness. But it's so clear that she does like him, so this part of the movie doesn't work, and why does it even matter when we know that Miller was using another woman to get over Clara to begin with? This whole bad boy who is actually just a troubled teen with a golden heart and the straight arrow girl who needs to learn to loosen up feels like 2012 Wattpad writing. And I think the part that bothers me the most about this movie is that Jonah and Morgan hide the fact that Clara's dad and aunt were sleeping with each other to help protect her, But this doesn't make any sense. Morgan holds a separate funeral for her husband and sister, assuming due not wanting Clara to connect the dots, but how can't she figure this out? If my aunt and dad both died on the same day, I would probably ask what they were both doing, and maybe her mom and uncle just told her they both died in separate car accidents by some freak of nature coincidence. But then Clara is shocked and confused when she sees her dad's car with some damages not related to the accident, so clearly she didn't think her dad died in a car accident, or at least one that happened in his car. So what did she think happened this entire time to her aunt and dad? This really pulled me out of the movie, and it takes her mom spelling out the affair to her to even figure out what her and her dad and aunt were doing in the same car together, let alone when they died together. It doesn't help either that they have the great Clancy Brown in this movie playing Miller's grumpy grandfather, and they use him for a total of 5 minutes, if that. And adding salt to the wound, he comes in at the end as a Deus Machina. The entire time Miller and Clara go back and forth as Clara wants to act and Miller wants to make movies, but Clara is the only one who can go to film school because Miller needs to take care of his grandpa who is just diagnosed with cancer, and they don't have the money for any professional caretakers. But right at the end of the movie, only after Clara has been accepted into school, knowing that she will leave his grandson in the butt fucking nowhere, and only after he's been diagnosed with cancer, that he tells his grandson and everybody else that he has $500K worth of property and he can sell it so Miller can go to school with his girlfriend and he can have all the professional care he wants. What is it with 2025 movies wanting to have their cake and eat it too? First Lilo and Stitch did it, and now Regretting You? You can't have these stakes throughout the whole movie and then just have them swept to the side at the end because some older side character came in with all the solutions. Regretting You is riddled with problems. The writing is awful with a plot that leaves you with a lot of questions, but not because of great commentary of themes, but because they don't explain what they need to during the runtime. Colleen Hoover and Susan McMartin don't seem to understand how teenagers act, and the aspects they do understand are just the surface level elements. I will give credit to the adult characters and more so the adult actors, as they are much more grounded even with the corny love dilemma they are put into, but that is more due to the performances and direction than the writing. If you can't tell already, I do not recommend Regretting You. I give it a 3 out of 10. They had Clancy Brown and they wasted him. Shame on this movie. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
There's a lot I wish I'd done differently. But I'll never spend 1 second regretting you.
You deserve to be happy. No regrets, right?